Welcome to Zombie Thanksgiving Lesson 8. Having completed the bulk of the game and added a game over screen, the obvious next step is to do a startup screen. We're also going to explore how to create a font in order to increase the size of the font that we use in our game and also just to make it nicer to look at. So let's get to it. So I've added a couple things that weren't covered in any of the other lessons. I've added a new resource called logo to be used in the startup screen. And I've also created the sprite to represent that particular logo. So what we want to do now is that we don't want to go straight into the game when we first get to the website. We want to go to a startup screen. So we want to change this from main to maybe start screen. Okay, so if you recall from the previous lesson that this implies another function. So let's go ahead and create that function. So we'll say function start screen. And in here, I mean, one of the things we could definitely do first, because we haven't done it at all, which is let's draw a back. Let's draw the background. All right. At this point, now we could also draw the logo. And let's just see what that looks like before I go any further. I'm having a hard time typing. Okay, so let's go here. Is this the game? I believe so. Okay, so there you go. A nice startup screen. But now what we have to do is we have to give the user some instructions how to actually get to the game, because notice there's nothing we can do here. So I think the easiest thing we can do is just have them click on the screen, but we have to at least tell them to do that. So let's go back here. Let's do a game dot draw text, and we'll say click the left mouse button to begin. And tell you what, we'll go ahead and put this in the middle. But now let's go ahead and anchor it from the bottom. So we'll say game dot height minus, let's say 150 to start off with. Right. And now we have to actually handle the idea that they're going to click. So this becomes something simple because we've actually seen how to handle the mouse click when we did the zombie. Again, there's just simply a mouse click. So if the person left clicks the mouse, we simply want to change the state of the game to main now. And hopefully you start to get the sense it's pretty easy just to kind of flip different screens, different modes, different levels. They each just simply become a function that you create. So let's try it out. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so obviously we got to play around with the text a little bit, but that's actually another goal for this lesson. So we're not going to mess around with this. Let's just see if we actually get into the main program, the main game by clicking. Hey there, so we got that part working. All right, so let's go back here. And now we're ready to explore the font class. So the font class accepts a size, a family, a color, and the possibility for a shadow with a color. So let's go back to our script and let's do that. And we're going to do that in the init function just before we enter into our start screen. So we'll say f is equal to new font. And let's say that we're going to do a 20 point in quotations. These are all string values that we're going to pass in. And we'll say Arial for the font family. We'll do white for the letters with a black shadow. Okay, so once you do that, if you recall from the draw text, and we're just going to go down to the draw text just to kind of review and get you used to that. If you forget something, just go back to the game library. You can look stuff up. Obviously, ignoring some of the inner workings because might not understand those. But when you get to the draw text, you can see it does take a font as its last parameter. It's an optional font though. I mean, an optional parameter. So let's go back to our script, and right after the 150, we're simply going to pass it the F. We're going to pass it that font that we created. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it's there. I think we could probably make it a little bigger. And obviously at this point now we have to push it in. So let's say instead of 20, maybe we could do uh, 28. And instead of game.width, we'll say game.width maybe minus 200. Hopefully this gets us in the ballpark. And I'm not going to squabble too much with positioning. Obviously we could do a little bit more. Maybe I'll subtract another 100. But now what I want to do is let's take those same uh, that same technique and let's improve on the game over. Now that we know how to, change around the font. Actually, I almost forgot. Why don't we just go through it? There's actually a situation in our main game. We actually draw two things, but they're really small. So let's just pass in that F, that font we just created, to both of these draw texts. Because if you recall, it was really hard to see the turkey's health and the zombie's health. Going down to this, I'm going to show you another technique here with this. Instead of just creating variables, we can actually do it on the spot. So instead of creating a new variable outside, we could simply do it right in here. Now, one of the benefits of doing it here is that, again, if you're not going to use it again, why create a variable? Just do it right on the spot. The one drawback, though, is that it is going to make your code longer. So let's do 50 PT. And I think we'll keep the font the same in terms of Arial. And what's the scenario? This is the lose. So maybe we'll paint the letters red with a black background. Let's do that. I think that could work. And then let's do something similar with the win. So let's give it a happy color. Let's give it a color of green. Again, we may have to work around with some of these positionings. I could almost tell you, I don't even think I have to even think twice about this one. We're definitely going to have to move them to the left a little bit. Okay, let's give it a try. All right, so click the left mouse button to begin. Again, obviously we can improve on this as well. So let's click on it. Though the 90 and 100 are a lot more visible now. That's a big improvement. And I think at this point I might actually win, maybe. Okay, so we get the UN. I guess I forgot to do the game over. And notice how we have two zombies here. So let's clean that up too. And I think the easiest way for us to clean that up is simply to do a bk.draw in here as well. And then let's pass in the F for, you know what? Let's make it big too. So let's do this. Let's put this in here. And why don't we make these a little bigger? Let's put this at 70. Let's say white and black. Knowing how we're going to do this, well, this is definitely going to have to bring it back. I think this was too far over, so let's adjust it here. And again, this will be my final adjustment. You could spend all day doing the fine tuning of positioning of your graphics. All right, so let's try one more time. So left mouse button to begin. We're there. We're clicking, we're clicking, we're clicking, we're clicking. And let's see, can we actually get to lose? Let's see if he can, now that he's moving fast, there's definitely a higher percentage of, better get there quicker or else I'm going to shoot you. All right, let's see who gets there first. All right, game over. So game over, you win. Again, some minor tweaking with the positioning, but that's pretty much the end of the game. So let's review what we've done. So in this lesson, we had more practice on game.state. We introduced the start screen just prior to the main game beginning. And then we saw how we could create a font both as a variable and also right in the draw text. And it greatly improved the readability of some of the information we provided on the screen. There is one more lesson we have to do, and that has to do with sound. So enjoy.